Imagine you have the world in your hands. You possess the power, the money, and a talent so immense that legends like Ibrahimovic and Zanetti bowed down to you. In 2004, the kings of football weren't Messi or Ronaldo. There was a beast, a force of nature known as the Emperor. A man who could tear apart the strongest defenses with a single touch. But then, just as suddenly, everything went dark. The Emperor vanished from the grand palaces of football, only to reappear in one of Brazil's most dangerous slums, walking barefoot in the streets today. We were going to tell you the tragic story of the man who could have become the greatest in history. If not for the curse that shattered his life, this is the fall and rise of Adriano. Adriano Leite Ribeiro was born in Vila Cruzeiro, a favela that was one of the most violent areas in Rio de Janeiro. In a place like that, where bullets and poverty were a part of daily life, football was the only real escape. It was his ticket out, his one shot at a different future. And when he finally arrived in Europe, he didn't just play, he exploded onto the scene. He shot the entire world with an impossible combination of skills. He had towering height, muscles of steel, and a left foot that could launch missiles at over 170 kilometers per hour. His power was simply terrifying in his very first match wearing an Inter Milan shirt. A friendly against the mighty Real Madrid, he came on as a substitute. The moment came for a free kick, he stepped up, unleashed an absolute rocket, and the ball flew into the net. Freezing the legendary Iker Casillas in place, the stadium was stunned. The world was stunned in that single moment. Everyone knew that a new emperor had just been born. He was destined for the throne of Italy. And soon, the world. Then came August 2004. Adriano was at the absolute peak of his career. He had just led Brazil to victory in the Copa America, where he was the top scorer and best player. He was untouchable. Unstoppable, he was on top of the world. And then, the phone rang in his hotel room. The news on the other end of the line was devastating. His father had died from a sudden heart attack. For Adriano, this wasn't just the loss of a father. He lost his hero, his mentor. The only person who could truly understand him and control his wild side. Keeping him on the right path, and his captain, the legendary Javier Zanetti, was there. He later said, "I saw him scream and cry like a little child." And from that day on, Adriano was never the same again. You could see the change in him. He would still score incredible goals, and after each one, he'd point to the sky in dedication to his father. But you could tell his soul had already left his body. The joy was gone, replaced by a deep, hollow sadness. The Emperor's armor had been pierced, and the man inside was breaking. From that point on, the Emperor began to sink into a deep depression. Football, the very thing that had saved him, now meant nothing. The pain was too much to bear. And he started looking for an escape in all the wrong places. He began showing up to training sessions heavily intoxicated, sometimes sleeping in the club's medical clinic just so the coach wouldn't see the state he was in. Inter Milan tried to protect him, telling the media he was injured, that he was dealing with muscle problems. But the truth was far more painful. He was injured, but his wounds were on the inside. He was trying to numb his agony with endless parties and late nights. He started losing weight, but not in a healthy way. He lost his focus. He lost his explosiveness. Most importantly, he lost the will to play. The fire in his eyes was gone, and the fans, who had once chanted his name like a god, started to boo and whistle. They didn't understand. They saw a player who seemed lazy and uncommitted, not knowing that the man they were watching on the pitch was completely and utterly broken inside. His kingdom was crumbling around him. Then, in a move that shocked the entire football world, Adriano made a drastic decision. He decided to leave everything behind. The fame, the money, the pressure of European football. He walked away from it all and returned to where he came from. He went back to the favela soon. Photos started to surface that stunned the public, pictures of him carrying weapons alongside. Local gang members, images of him getting a shave in the street from a local barber. Just like any other resident. The international press went wild, claiming he had fallen into the abyss, that his career was not just over, but his life was ruined. But Adriano had a very different perspective. He responded to the critics by saying, "I'm not ruined. I've just returned to where I feel human for him." It wasn't about failure. It was about survival. He chose to be happy walking barefoot on the dirt roads of his childhood home rather than being miserable sitting on a golden throne in Milan. He found his peace not in the roar of the stadium, but in cooking for his neighbors and simply being among his people. Adriano's story isn't just a tale of sporting failure. It's a deeply human story about how fragile we all are in the face of loss. It's a reminder that behind the superstars we idolize, there are real people with real pain. If Adriano had continued on his path, who knows? Perhaps the conversation about Messi and Ronaldo today would be completely different. He didn't disappear because of some magical curse or a lack of discipline. He disappeared because his heart couldn't bear the weight of being at the top of the world all alone, without his father by his side. What do you think? Tell us in the comments. Is Adriano the greatest lost talent in the history of football? Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.